Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. I am so excited. I love meeting new people. I love having new friends, and Andria Lightfoot is one of those people that I'm just excited. If you haven't watched her on social media, you need to, because she's one of those people like me. She is over the top, and you really need to have a caffeinated beverage in your hand to even connect with Andria and I right now. But ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get into something that I'm so passionate about. I know Andria is, SimpleNexus is, but we're talking about the homeowner journey. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not going to want to miss this episode. Sit back, relax. It's time to shred. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Shred Show. I am very excited to have Andria on the show. I've never had her as a guest, and her and I were talking before the show, and she is one of those people that she has such a reputation. She has such a great experience in our industry. Plus, she has a lot of energy. Her and I are going to have some fun. Y'all better sit back. Plus, we got the green thing going on because it's actually for Andria's birthday last week. It's on St. Patrick's Day. This is kind of like our late St. Patrick's Day episode. So, hey, late happy birthday to you, Andria.
Thank you.
But we're so excited to have you on the show. Somebody who has such a cool background in the mortgage industry, somebody who came from being like mortgage professional over to fintech, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But before we get into any of that, let's hear a little bit about Andria. Tell us a little bit about you, some of the things you enjoy doing, some of the things you like, some of your hobbies. Let's learn a little bit about Andria.
Yeah, I would like to say that I am essentially the Mary Poppins of mortgage. So if you're trying to figure out like, okay, is this tech, is this, engineering, is this business solutions, is this operations, sales? Yes. Right. And I kind of liken it to, there's a dark side to the Mary Poppins movie, which is she gets them to take the medicine, but they think they're having a great time. So, when we're talking about what I've done in my career, it starts really, I think, with a place of empathy, because I was an LOA for a top producer. I worked with the president of Westar Mortgage, Kathy Zimpel, shout out to her. She kind of, brought me through the ranks there. And as I was implementing and working on technology and looking at kind of how to strategize across integrations, this little company called Encompass started selling and taking off, right? So I've been on, platforms, big platforms, small ones, bank, independent mortgage, consulted. But at the end of the day, I really do it because, I have been there faxing rate sheets and trying to figure out where the market was going to move and having to make those really tough calls to realtors when the appraisal came in low.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna coin that phrase. We're gonna call from now on, Andria's now the Mary Poppins of the mortgage industry. That is what we're going with. She claimed it. Hashtag Mary Poppins of mortgage. That is now your new title, Andria. Hey. I feel like though talking about like Mary Poppins, I need to talk in a Brit like, well, good day, Andria. We're going to go sweep some chimneys and have a good time. That was more Australian than any, but I love that because that really is kind of a good comparison of what she does. And you kind of are that person and you have that experience where you can actually share, be like, you know what? I've been there. I've done that. So I can actually I can share these things with you that are going to be valuable, whether you think you need them or not. Yeah. Again, let me actually share the value with this. So let's talk about that because you do come from a background of mortgage. You were with Mason Mortgage. Wow.
Yeah, George Mason Mortgage.
And we were Mortgage.
Subsidiary of United Bank. So that was kind of a different rodeo for me because I'd been at independent mortgage shops. I'd consulted with banks. And then when I kind of, dipped my toe into the baby pool there, it was like, okay, this isn't as bad. I think banks get a bad rap, but United Bank was a great partner. Richard Adams, our chairman, really loved and had like a vision for mortgage over there. So it was a great time working with Bill Lannon, who was the CEO. And I just previously came from being the COO over there. And then now I'm going to be VP of Professional Services with SimpleNexus. Just started with those guys and big time fan of Matt Hansen. We go way back from when he started the product of SimpleNexus in his garage. So, I'm like the OG fan of SimpleNexus, Matt.
Wait, are you here in Utah?
I am not, but I did go to school in Utah. I met my husband out there. All my family lives out there, but I got to say I'm East Coast for life. So
East Coast for life.
Yeah, if you want to hit me up, Philly, New York, DC, like those are kind of my stomping grounds.
Well, I was going to say, wait a minute. If you got a background with Matt, maybe you're here in our stomping grounds here in Utah, but that's okay. We'll let it slide. We still,
Yeah.
SimpleNexus still calls here Utah home, but it's all good. So, but let's kind of talk about this transition because you do come from that mortgage background. Why would you possibly, fintech, has this huge explosion of name, like fintech. And that seems like it's kind of just a popular word in our industry right now. Why go from such a cool background in the actual mortgage side of the industry to fintech? Why would you make that jump?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people over the last 2 weeks when I started SimpleNexus go, wait a second, they're messaging me on my LinkedIn, my Twitter, and going, hold on a second, weren't you just doing mortgage? Weren't you just in charge of operations? That seemed like it would be a pretty cushy job, right? But I think when you get to a place where you want to do something that really makes a difference and you're passionate about, and I'm really talking to originators out there because I think they also get a bad rap of it's for the dollar bills. It's not, right? When you want to wake up and be excited about what you do every day, you got to sometimes hit a little bit of a pause and go and do the Simon Sinek evaluation of like, what's the why here? Like, why am I doing this? Okay. And so for almost 20 years, you're in mortgage, you're grinding out results, you're helping, scale solutions and automate and budget and get operations all up and running. But at the end of the day, am I really moving the needle for a wider audience, nationally? And if you take it another step back on that one, Josh, the Holmes Rahi scale of stressful life events. Anybody who hasn't heard of this is like back in the 60s, and they basically weight rank the most stressful things you can go through. Purchasing a home, refinancing a mortgage. They're in the top 25. Okay.
Wow.
It's like up there with getting divorced. Okay. So crap. When you look at what is really painful about the things I couldn't solve for, I can't solve for them at the company level. I really felt motivated that I needed to partner with somebody who was going to take that dream of home ownership and eliminate the barriers to entry across the country. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to make an impact here. And I think I woke up and said, I want to really embrace this passion I have for digital, where I've been pushing on the lender side, and actually kind of join the dark side and get into fintech and help them hear and understand the pain. And let's really move that needle forward.
Oh, this is such a cool conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, you got to comment #shred because you're live with it. You're shredding with myself and Andria right now. And this is the part of the conversation that I really want to get into, because sometimes when it comes to the dark side of fintech, sometimes I think we have this mentality or this mindset too of where we think we're, the tools and the technology that we have, it's supposed to take the role, or it's supposed to take over our jobs and responsibilities, when it's really not. It's really to help us to that seamless homeowner journey that I love. That's really the vision of SimpleNexus, is creating that homeowner journey. Talking what you're talking about right now is making it something that's enjoyable. Nobody wants to go through a divorce. It's the things that nobody wants to experience, but we're making together as an industry with conversations and collaboration like this, we're making that journey of home ownership more enjoyable. Could you imagine the day, Andria, when people are like, my gosh, that was such a pleasant experience. That was so much fun. Yes. I want to do it again.
Well, or, let's be honest, we do our best shopping at 10 o'clock at night laying in bed, right? So, if we're talking about digital, we've got to get serious about it's not just point of sale. It's not just upfront online applications. We've been building those for a decade. What's really kind of, sexy about the SimpleNexus, platform here is that it's looking at the entire journey. And you and I both know that really great production folks, right? The originators that are $100 million producers plus are not out drumming up business for next month. They're building a pipeline that's going to feed them for the life of their career. And really with the co-branding and the realtor relationships that the platform offers, we're really kind of hooking in that borrower, SimpleNexus, co-branded with you, co-branded with your referral partners, and keeping them committed to you for the journey of not one home, every home that they ever want to refinance, purchase, down the line. So I look at it as we say journey, but we really mean that at SimpleNexus, because it's not a destination. We're continuing to iterate around when can we engage that customer beyond even closing. And that's kind of the cool part of working with Matt Hansen and Ben Miller, is their vision for what this platform is soup to nuts. And we're not trying to compete with LOS. Let me be clear. We're not just trying to be your upfront online application. We're trying to help loan officers think about the way that they're bringing in referrals. So let's be honest. 30% of all your referrals that come from somebody they're going to be stickier in your pipeline, right?
100%.
So you've got to be looking at the tools that actually engage with the way you're doing business, and not trying to shoehorn your business into the tool.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. This is, ladies and gentlemen, you need to share this with somebody right now, because this is the conversations that need to be happening more and more.
Preach.
Plus, I want to talk like SimpleNexus makes you sexy. She said it. She said it like that just rolls off the tongue too. Like hashtag SimpleNexus is sexy or making you sexy, because it does. And this, because again, it's a tool that should be utilized. It is not your everything. And I love that you talk about, think about how often you're sitting on your phone. We all sit there with our phone, with our spouse, whether it's getting ready to go to bed or it's first thing in the morning, that's when we're making those educated purchase decisions. So if you have a tool that's keeping you top of mind, that's again, allowing you to be in front of your consumer at those times, that's what SimpleNexus is about. It's being able to keep in touch and stay in front of through content, through the conversations. That's why SimpleNexus is really pushing the envelope, Andria.
Yeah. And, people want to talk about ROI and what more are you going to get out of it? I mean, we've been doing a campaign around loan officers can get 7+ more deals a year using our platform. Those are nice stats, and I think they're great. But what I get into is talking to a lender where we implemented SimpleNexus. We had our whole disclosure integration. They're on their mobile app. And guess what? Our platform lets you do pre-qual letters where you set an approved amount, and your realtor can adjust down when they're ready to go put that offer letter out. So you're not on the phone Sunday night when that realtor calls you and says, okay, I know they're approved for, $350, but I need to write the contract for $345.5. And you're scrambling to, get away from the wife and kids or your partner and just be able to do those types of tasks. We're trying to give you more time to go out and hunt. That's what every loan officer wants to hear. And that's what we're committed to. That is part of the growth strategy with SimpleNexus.
See, and somebody who loves the hunt, she's just like pulling on my heartstrings right there. And again, owning a mortgage company, that's what originators should be focused on, going out and hunting. They need to be seeing, especially in this market right now, refis are down 43%, ladies and gentlemen, from last December. You need to be on the hunt right now when you have the tools and the utilities that can help you and allow you to free up that time. This is exactly. So James Duncan commented, Thrive Mortgage loves it. James, always a good friend of the show. That's what we love to hear. And again, like you're talking about, it's people who are actually utilize, people who are using it, coming from somebody who got those calls on a Sunday night or even a Saturday morning when I was hanging out with family or trying to spend time with kids, when there's like, hey, real estate doesn't rest on the weekends. We all know that. But if I can pull my app and hurry and change something real quick, it takes me 30 seconds instead of going back. I got to run to the office. I got to change my pre-qual letter for my real estate agent. It's all right there. And again, that's why this tool is so cool, because it makes it seamless. Plus, the part that I love about the SimpleNexus program or the SimpleNexus tool as well, it keeps everybody communicating. It keeps everybody, there's that opportunity with real estate agents, yourself as the loan officer, and even, the prospective client, you can all engage through the platform.
And you just had Gino and Don on from Finance of America. We had a great conversation the other day, and it was like mind blowing for me, because every $100 million producer that I've worked with has seen the vision. They have the growth mindset to say, it does take a team, right?
Yes.
You yourself only have so much time. So the way you work with assistants and production managers and business development, this has the team capability on the SimpleNexus app. So not only are you branded for you specifically, not just your company, but now your referral partners are able to engage with anybody else that's in your team that's going to get that loan done more quickly. All the way up and through, we have a hybrid e-closing solution. So we're talking about keeping the borrower on the same platform the entire way through. No jumping out to this site and then getting another link and then can't reset their password. We have completely eliminated that. We are the only solution that's out there right now that keeps your customer engaged with you all the way from the time that they're trying to pre-qual, look for that house, send you docs, uploading things, right, getting credit approvals, through to closing. Okay, so that's a super important piece. And we are not the kind of company where we're just trying to land the big fish. We know the big 10 banks. If we all had $50 million to go out and build our own platform, obviously people would want to build their own platform, right? But instead of managing your own engineering or Scrum team, you just utilize our experience and product. And we're actually helping that strategic layer, those loan officers who get retail, they know what their business is, and they just need something to help elevate them and differentiate.
I love that you really hit on the nail on the head there. Is you guys have the experience. You mentioned Matt, you mentioned Ben, yourself. Look at the team that SimpleNexus is, because again, coming from a mortgage professional where originating for so many years of my life, owning a mortgage company to where we had, 50 originators, the team is so critical, and the team that SimpleNexus has put together, yourself included, you understand the process. You understand the hiccups that can occur. So it's saying, okay, as an originator, where are those speed bumps? Where are those hiccups going to occur? How can we make this more seamless? How can we make this a little bit simpler, not only for, again, us as originators, but for the real estate agent, for the consumer? Because again, going from an experience of people don't want to go through a purchase, people don't want to go through a refinance because there's so much heartache, to creating that journey to where it is something enjoyable. It does take a team. It takes the right people. It takes the right knowledge and expertise in the backgrounds to come together. Plus, one thing that I love that you guys constantly do, Snug just wrapped up last month. You guys are constantly looking for ways to collaborate, working with not only companies and vendors throughout the industry, but actually hearing from actual users saying, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's improve on it. Let's make this process better for everybody.
Yeah, that is really what I think is the misconception about fintech, is that they think, we're over here in a vacuum or in a bubble trying to build something and then, push it on to customers. But you had hit on something I think really important about growth mindset for large producers, right? So anybody who hasn't read or listened to the TED Talk from Angela Duckworth, this is a quick shout out because her book on true grit and the growth mindset, it's called The Power and Passion of Perseverance. Say that 10 times fast.
Right.
Her whole shtick here is like talking about the research and the psychology of what we know successful sales folks have unlocked, which is embracing the challenge, right? Looking at obstacles and identifying them as opportunities. And that is what SimpleNexus really does with their customers, is we're listening on an empathetic level to say, how can we learn from the criticism and feedback and get better? How can we improve that product and iterate it? And that's a little bit different in that, we're looking at our effort and that grit that we're putting into this with you as our true partnership, right? We're not looking to just be top dog and come in and be the mastermind on this thing. We're looking to actually listen to our customers and say, what do you need? What are we missing? Where's the holes in the Swiss cheese? Let's figure this out.
Oh, see, and that's the mentality. That's the mindset. Sometimes we do have a fixed mindset. I mean, referencing Carol Dweck, one of my favorite books as well. Like, having a fixed mindset in this industry, sometimes we worry about competition in the wrong way as well. We're like, well, wait a minute. Like, we have to be really careful on who do we actually want to let into our small network here? But the idea of SimpleNexus is to like, hey, let's collaborate. Let's learn from each other. And again, there's little nuances to that, but for the most part, you guys are absolutely like, hey, we're better together. The more unity we can have throughout our industry, the more discussions, the more collaboration that is here, we can improve on the process. We can make this ultimately that journey that we all want, that we all really want to create for every single one of our borrowers. That's ultimately what it is. And this idea of this growth mindset, reference the book one more time for all of our listeners, reference that book one more time. Yeah.
So Angela Duckworth, she's got a great TED Talk, but her book is called Grit: The Power and Passion of Perseverance. And I think that just the main takeaway on her book is that talent doesn't make you great. Your success in life really depends on your tenacity. And that's one of my things I love about this podcast, just being with Shred Media, like you embody that for me, Josh. And I hope that your listeners are kind of picking up on that too, that when we're looking at elevating what the LO experience is, it's because we're trying to help feed those deals. It's not just because, SimpleNexus as a platform needs to be better. We want to actually help remove the barriers to entry on that homeownership journey and create the American dream.
Oh, I love it. It's the tenacity. It's the hustle. It's the shreddy. It's the show up, hustle, repeat it. You have to. And if you don't have that mindset, if you don't have that tenacity that you're talking about, Andrea, you're going to be left in the dust. And you really are. You really, as originators, all you mid-level, whether you're an executive, entry-level, mid-level, if you're in the trenches, you need to start thinking about this. You need to start creating this mindset. You need to start having these discussions within your teams that Andrea is talking about as well, because 2021 change is happening. Andrew, you mentioned change. Challenges are coming up. And if you don't start planning, if you don't start looking forward to the future, you're absolutely going to be left in the dust, like 100%.
I mean, we learned a lot of lessons during COVID last year.
Big time.
I think what that did for me is it finally opened the floodgates of all the exceptions and kind of excuses we've been telling ourselves as an industry for so long, because surprise, the loan officers were the ones driving technology adoption. Like, let me say that again. The people that you thought were going to be your biggest roadblock to success. Oh, sales aren't, it's hurting cats. They're never going to adopt it. What we saw across the industry were that the groups of people who really needed to champion e-close and changes to point of sale and online applications and efficiencies, verification of assets, all these cool, technology buzz parts. You really get in there and you go, wait a second, I'd never thought that my loan officers would be the one pushing on me to say, we've got to get better CRM automation. We got to get better integration with, this or that. Right. And so that to me just completely changed the way I was thinking about what we as an industry are capable of, because last year we proved to ourselves when push came to shove, loan officers are agile. They are nimble. They are willing to change, and they will adopt the technology.
See, and you just have to have a voice too. Your voice matters in this industry. You originators, if you really want to start seeing change, you have to be part of the change. And that's this growth mindset that you keep referring, that we keep talking about. You have to have that growth mindset. You have to be able to adapt and have partnerships and work with companies like SimpleNexus that are, again, you guys are leading from the front. You're leading by example when it comes to change, when it comes to like challenges, saying, hey, here's what we've learned. Here's how we're going to make it better. Here's how we're going to improve. Let's all go forward together. It's so exciting to me, Andrea. There's so many things that, again, that not just referring to SimpleNexus, but leaders like yourself. That's why the SimpleNexus team continues to overcome these challenges and continues to improve, because they have great people like you, like you said, with Ben and Matt and so many Shane, so many great people that are part of the team. It's so exciting. It's such a breath of fresh air. And especially when it comes to that fintech conversation, you mentioned the dark side. Sometimes when people, they hear fintech, they roll their eyes and they're like, here we go again.
Right. But they think it's probably like a lot of sales guys feel like, oh, here we go. It's going to be the sales spiel. But what I really try to listen for is, and I'm going to welcome this. Anybody who's listening to my voice right now on this podcast, I welcome the conversation about your pain point. I really mean that, because sometimes what we try to say to ourselves is, oh, technology is going to do more with less. That's not true, because sometimes the more that we're trying to do is the broken part of our process, right? If you're trying to do it the old way, we're not just doing more with less. We're shifting and disrupting what you're doing in your book of business. Okay. So when you're out still delivering donuts post-COVID and pressing the palms and going to lunch and having happy hour, that's fantastic. But let's be honest, if you can be in your borrower's pocket with your realtor, with your builder, with all of your referral partners, okay, we're not going to dictate what's a referral partner. You could have a wealth management buddy that sends you business. Whoever that partnership is, that's integrated into that customer journey and communication. Huge, right? Oh. Who are we inviting into this conversation? That is basically for the loan officer to choose. Choose your own adventure. It was my favorite book back in the 80s.
Oh, yes.
Right? You choose, we're going to support it.
Well, oh my gosh, that's almost like a mic drop. That's like where I want to end on that, because you choose the journey. Like you choose, and again, we talk about adding value all the time. You're now creating that value for your referral partners. You're creating that value. You're bringing them into that ecosystem. So now they're like, well, man, Andrea put me into this ecosystem with the client, with the builder. This is mind blowing. This is revolutionary, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to end on, that's a mic drop for Andrea. She absolutely nailed it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want more information, you can go to simplenexus.com. We'll post a link. And I love Andrea's challenge. If you want to push the envelope, if you want to really reach out to her, Andrea, what's the best way? Via email? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, via email. I'm going to throw it out there. alightfoot@simplenexus.com. Let's start the conversation.
There, she threw it out there. Now you have to take the challenge, ladies and gentlemen. Don't just sit back. Don't relax. Reach out to Andrea and let's start the conversation, because it's only through you that we can make the process better. Andria Lightfoot, ladies and gentlemen, what an amazing. I'm like pumped up more than normal. I'm like, let's go. This is fun. So, but we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on this. We're going to have Andrea back on the show. This is one of those where we can't just, there's so much more that her and I could talk about, because her and I were talking about the sales, and really when it comes to the salespeople, us originators in the trenches, there's a lot more conversation that needs to be happening. So we're going to come back. We're going to leave you on a teaser for that. It's going to happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, Andria Lightfoot. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Guys, as always, it is such a pleasure having you here. And as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you guys to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you again so much for joining us for today's show. If you like the content, make sure you hit that like button below. And if you already haven't subscribed to our channel, click right over here and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to see our latest video, click over here. And again, if you want to see the best of daily content within the mortgage and real estate industries, you have to subscribe now. We look forward to having you shred with us every single day.